Well, today I'm just going to do a little video on repointing a very small job.
So let's look at this brickwork here. First thing in Pennsylvania, brickwork doesn't last. All these joints, the water gets in them and they fall apart. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I'm wasting my time. So I'm just going to get this, chip it out a little bit, get the wire brush in there, and patch it up. Now I'm making up my own mixture. This is a high-performance repair mortar, and it's fast drying. So I'm going to go 1 m, and I'm just to add my own mixture. I add a little bit sand to it, so it's not too hard and it slows it down. And then just add my water. Just add the water, mix it up. Not going to make no big deal out of this. Just a little bit at a time. If it gets too hard too fast, I'll just make some new stuff. That's all I'm doing. Look at that. Not that much. It's better off a little stiffer than it is too soft, because I won't be messing the brick up. That's how we're going to do it. I think that's looking pretty good right there. Alright, now we're going to go over here. See this right here? That is flat. The reason I want it flat is I want to be able to go in here right up against the joint and push it in. I'm not going to use no water because this is just going to make a mess. I don't want any messes. Let that settle out there. Up here, just get it in. Just anytime you start a job like this, you kind of got to learn the job as you go. In other words, you just don't figure it out right away. You do it as you go. Now I have this thing. You can see it's drying already. See it? Drying already. Put our little thing in there. I also do this like a painter, like Bob Ross. Some people tell me I'm like Bob Ross. I could do it this way. A little messy that way, so we'll do this first. Get these in, and then we're going to come back to it. That's it. Fill these holes in. Nothing wrong with the integrity of the brick, or if it's going to stay there. It's definitely going to stay there. We just want to get it in there, that's it. We're not going to spend hours at that. Let's come back here every 3-4 years, and whatever falls apart, we're going to do it again. No big deal. Alright, what we're doing is I'm just patching up the holes. Comes to the point, like, what am I going to do to these people? I'm going to charge them all this money for trying to drill it out and everything. It ain't worth it. Best thing to do is just show up every 4 or 5 years, and wherever it got loose, fix it. Brickwork, Pennsylvania, don't last. Northeastern Pennsylvania, nothing lasts, but especially brickwork. So that's how we're doing. Now when we get it in like that, we let it dry for a while and use our finger. Sometimes if you can't get it in, just push it in with the finger like this. Then we want to get the sponge and just very lightly go over it where you got it on the brick. Make sure you keep cleaning your sponge out so it ain't dripping. And for a job like this, that's about all you can do. Because I could be here spending hours and hours and hours and spending these people's money, and it's just not worth it. I just do what I gotta do. I'm here for an hour and a half. I patched up their holes and I'm gone. You got it? So I'm doing this. It's loose, it's loose. It's always gonna be loose because this piece right here is running over the top of the block, at the top of the brick. I ain't gonna waste too much time. I'm just gonna patch the holes up And that's it. You gotta use your finger sometimes. Use your finger if you can't get in there. That's it. I'm gonna brush it up. Go step back and take a look at it every once in a while. Step back. See what it looks like. You get your finger in there. I ain't too worried about the limestone getting dirty. That's it. We're not gonna kill ourselves here. Trying to make a big deal out of it. So I'm not spending no more time on this. I just got the big stuff. If they want me to come back in a year, 2 years, 3 years, then I'll just hit it again. That's it. So let me talk about that job a little bit. I get the phone call. It's an old girlfriend. My aunt is 98 years old and she just wants you to come up. Please go look at it. Okay. So I go up there and I could see already it's not worth me doing a lot of stuff for nothing. You know, it's not going to make it any better. It's still going to fall apart in 4 or 5 years again anyway. Now I used a fast drying cement. And when you get some fast drying cement and you did it the way I did it, and you get a little bit on the side, just get a little piece of sandpaper and you can actually scrape it off. Now that was a very hard brick and it was solid, and I knew by using the sponge it wasn't going to do a lot of damage to it. Now a lot of times they say, well, Mike, you got to use lime and all this stuff. Lime in my area don't last, and in that instance they built the porch and they didn't put any roof over it, so the water comes over the top and it goes down the brick and it lays. If that brick had holes in it, it would all fell apart. And if they had old brick like this, it would all fell apart. So anymore they got the bag cements, which that's in the last 15 years they really came out. In the old days when you did a brick job or you did a block job, it was always the same mix. And everybody used that for years and years and years. Now they put it in a bag and they tell you this is what you're supposed to use. But you seen me put a little sand in it, right? So the reason I did that was to make it just a little bit weaker and a little bit rougher. But if you want to see if you got the correct cement, the old timers would do something like this. They just scrape the brick and then they'd scrape the cement. And if the cement is softer than the brick, then you're okay. That was like the rule of thumb in the old days. But those days, they just passed the mixes down from generation to generation. And what they used in Florida is not what they use in Alaska, and what they use in Alaska is not what they use in California, and what they use in California is not what they use here. They try to put it into a bag and tell you that's what you're supposed to use, but that's not true. I don't go with that theory. I go with, if I used it 30 years ago or 40 years ago and it's as good as new, that's what I'm going to use today. So, what's the lesson today? If you get a phone call and you see your old girlfriend, it's going to cost you money or time one way or the other. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.